Welcome, everybody, to TNT News Live. I am your host, Valerie B., and we are here every single Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am so excited to have you all. I want to thank you in advance for joining me. We have a special guest, which is my sister, and she'll be coming on shortly. But you know how we do it every single Tuesday. I want to welcome all the new guests and those that are coming back from last week. I just want to say thank you for joining us. If you have anything that you would like to share, put it in the chat. Let us know where you're chiming in from. And we just want to, make this an interactive podcast. So if you know someone that would love to be a part of the conversation, please share and let them know that we are here live right now with your host Valerie B. and Lenasia Angelina. So as we all know, this story is all about everyone sharing their stories because your story isn't just for you. Your story is so that someone else can be encouraged, have hope, and know that they can overcome too. So if you have a story that you would like to share, you can go to tntwithvalerie@gmail.com and you can be a guest on the show as well. So I want to say thank you so much, everybody. We get ready to, get this conversation going. Hey, Mom, thank you for joining us. It's another amazing day, with a great opportunity because you have life and there is purpose for you. So we getting ready to come on and share our stories because, we have a lot to talk about. So with that being said, I am getting ready to invite my sister. She is a mindset coach of Rise Coaching Agency. Her name is Lenasia Angelina, and we just getting ready to dive into the conversation. So, Lenasia, can you come off of mute?
Hey y'all.
Hey, girl, you
Hey
look
girl.
cute.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
You welcome. So as you all may or may not know, this is my sister, Lenasia Angelina. Not only is she my sister, but she is an amazing coach. And we're just gonna get into the conversation to get to know, a little bit more about what she does, who she is, and just our life journey. This I am the oldest of three, and my sister Lenasia is the second oldest. So whether that matters or not, I just want to let y'all know it's three of us, and we just don't get to know each other. So today's topic is about the sibling edition. This is episode 3 of our generational healing series, and just to catch you all up on what we were talking about last week. Hey, Jamie. Just to catch you up on what we were talking about last week, we went over father wounds becoming relationship issues, and we dived into that conversation previously. We talked about revealing you to you. So this has been a journey that we've been on this generational healing series, and today is the siblings edition. So we're gonna have some fun and get to know one another. So with that being said, Nasia, the amazing mindset coach, and my sister. Tell us how you got on the journey of even wanting to get into coaching.
That's so loaded because whenever someone asks me that, I always say like, it wasn't necessarily a choice, but it was more of a call by God over my life, and I accepted it. And I did that in 2017. Many people may know my journey. I started in the nonprofit sector. I operated as a leader of a nonprofit, my nonprofit rather, for 7, almost 8 years. And as I was in that space, operating in that space as a leader, a lot of people would come to me for business coaching because I was able to, maneuver throughout the space in some capacity. There were so many blind spots, so much that I didn't know, but a lot of people, I had that 10% edge. So people were still coming to me for support and guidance. And when people would come to my office, what I would recognize is that oftentimes, they were there, to get business advice on like how to start their 501c3 or how to start their for profit. But just the calling in me would always show up, and we would end up, talking more about how they were really seeking some validation, and how a lot of them didn't even want to start businesses. Some of them were wanting to start businesses for the wrong reasons, and some of them were just going the complete wrong way. So it ended up being more of a personal development process as opposed to a business development process. And I remember talking to someone at my church about it. I don't even honestly remember how that conversation went, but I remember that person saying, "You're a life coach." And I was like, "I don't know anything about life coaching, but cool, I'll explore it." And I went to our office, and, at the time I was like, I'm about to be pitched to sale. And I was, right? Because of my lack mindset, all I'm thinking about is what I'm being sold. But, when I got home, the Holy Spirit really spoke to me. In 2017, I was like fasting like crazy. So my ear to God was just, it was so clear, the direction that he wanted me to go in. His voice was like on audible. So when I got the call, when I got home, it was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I'm like, okay, God, like, cool. I ain't got the money. I ain't got the time, but I'm gonna make this investment. I'm gonna figure it out. And it was
You.
one of the best decisions that I ever made in my life. Just going through that program, Chase Great Enterprises with Latoya Early, Joe the Giant, shout out to them, for even just taking me down that path, and, really revealed to me, just introducing coaching to me rather. And now I'm just in full submission and full surrender to whatever God is doing in whatever season. So that's why I've been able to continue to grow.
Well, that's so awesome. I'm so glad that, I get to see it. Well, I've always gotten to see it firsthand, just your leadership ability and seeing you flourish in what you're doing today is just phenomenal. So I'm
Thanks,
so proud of you and excited about your future,
girl.
girl. I'm excited about your future. So I know I am a part of your journey of the Black Women Transform. You are doing a day. Well, you are right now doing a coaching series. Well, would you call it a series that you're doing right now for the morning?
Interestingly enough, it's funny because remember I talked to you the other day and I said, God, give me clarity on my ministry. And I had never asked for a ministry. And today someone actually poured that into me. Someone was like, yeah, actually, this is a global ministry. And I was like, I'm not surprised by that because I actually wrote that down the other day and I had never written the word ministry in my years of coaching, of
Yeah.
working with women. And even I was talking to my coach recently and I was, as I was developing the framework and developing the programming, I felt like I was trying to box it in. First off, I kept trying and I just stopped forcing it. And when I stopped, God was able to, like all the pieces started to unfold. But even still, I was like, it's more than a podcast. It's more than a community. It's more than a framework. It's more than that. I just know it is. I'm like, it's more of a mission in my heart. It's a movement. And what's been revealed, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but here I am. It is a ministry. And everything that we do is, I mean, even though I'm not in the pulpit, which God is not limited to a pulpit anyway, it's marketplace ministry. And you've been on the calls. You've seen the move of God. You see how God takes over and, the encounters that we have and how his presence is there. So it's definitely a ministry.
Absolutely. I know that what you're doing is a marketplace ministry. Anybody that is in Christ, you're going to minister in whatever capacity that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So you're necessary in the coaching sector to, minister in that way. So I'm
Yeah.
just I'm just happy to be a part. And with that being said, we're talking about mindsets and shifting mindsets. I know that when you shift your mindset, it can offer a better quality of life. So at I realized firsthand that it has offered me a better quality of life, even in regards to how I manage our relationship as sisters. I just want to ask you, how does that correlate into your interpersonal relationships on a daily basis when it comes to us as siblings?
Yeah. I mean, well, number one, it contributes to every single aspect of our lives, right?
Right.
So the mind creates everything else in our world. Anything that you see manifested, whether it's your laptop, your cell phone, Facebook, it was created in someone's mind first. So whether people want to say it or not, it requires a level of attention, and intention, in order for us to really be able to tap into the level that God is calling us to. We have to make sure that we have mental wellness, and I don't just mean, um, I, just making sure that we are fully well within our
Yeah.
minds. And that only happens through intention and cultivating that space, nurturing the mind and retraining it and reprogramming it. Because from the day that you're born, you're programmed to think a certain way, to believe a certain way, to feel a certain way, to decide a certain way, to solve your problems a certain way. And as you know, a big part of my framework is helping to dismantle everything that you've been taught so that you can create a new system within your life that is actually intentional and is actually, drives you in the direction of this vision that you have. So, number one, I had to create a vision. I had to establish a vision for how I even wanted my relationships to look. And a big part of that obviously happens within my mind first. So I established this vision for how I want my relationships to look. And in doing that, you choose your words for healthy, wealthy, abundant, unified. You want it to be a safe space. You want it to be a place where there's trust, where
Yeah.
there is support, where there's service, where there's love. And once you are able to identify what your North Star is, what you want those relationships to look like, it's easier to be guided in that direction because now you have a vision. And I call them vision decisions because people will create a vision, but they'll create a vision board rather. People will create a vision board, but then they make decisions that are totally out of alignment with what's on that vision board. As for me, I create a vision for every single aspect of my life every single day. And if the decisions that I'm making, if the way that I'm speaking, if the way that I'm managing my relationships is not in alignment with that vision, that North Star, then what can I do within myself to change that? And I knew that I wanted healthier relationships. I knew that I didn't want this division within my relationships anymore, especially when it came to my family, especially, just upholding the integrity of my business. I knew that I was helping and transforming so many people's lives, but then I knew that there was so much brokenness in my family. So I knew that I needed to show up differently because I wanted to be a woman of integrity. So knowing that I had this vision for my mind and shifting that paradigm of integrity, I had to ask myself, what does integrity look like? Well, it looks like not just showing up on social media for everybody else, showing up for my clients, showing up for my partners, showing up for my business, but it means showing up for the people in my family that I say that I love and I care about. So, a lot of people are in a rush to do the thing. And as you know, like I'm a person where if I'm hurt, if I'm upset, I'm isolating. I'm putting, like I'm I'm like protecting myself, quote
Mm.
unquote. And I had to really shift the paradigm of what protection looks like for me. I had to identify, you know, why, cultivating these relationships in a new way was important for me.
Mm.
I had to re-identify, like reestablish this definition of what integrity looked like for me. So it's a lot of work it's a lot of work that goes into doing the thing, and it's really becoming the person that does the thing. So when
Yeah.
I was able to come to you and we were able to reconcile, and now we're able to nurture this new relationship and cultivate this new space of trust and love and understanding and
Yeah.
support for one another. That came from me becoming a person who aligned with this new vision for my life, where I wanted healthier relationships, where I wanted to reconcile. And when I started to see myself in that vision, it was easier to make decisions that aligned me with that. I hope that made sense. I can't see like any comments or anything, but sometimes my answers are so loaded. So I
It's
hope that that
okay.
was a streamlined answer
It's
to
okay.
I became the person who was
Yeah.
able to show up in a space where I could see the value in reconciling.
Wow. I think that, although it's loaded, it's actually very, very is critical information that we need
Mhm.
to know. As
Yeah.
you see yourself having healthier relationships, you begin to walk that out. And I'm so glad that you broke it down like that, because I broke down a few things too. I realized that it definitely, my relationships getting better definitely started with my mind changing, and realizing that um, I was also able to see that, the reason for our breakdown of our relationship, because we had a issue where, it was just misunderstanding. We didn't communicate well, but it was just a generational thing. I was able to look back and see where that stemmed from, and be able to, like, since I seen that it was like a lot of relationships amongst siblings weren't connected in our family dynamic, I was able to then get to the root cause of, even when it comes to like praying for specific things, because like sometimes if you're not aware of where the root causes of it come from, you'll still be constantly battling with the same thing over and over and over again. And so once I was able to identify, like, this wasn't just something that we that started with us, it was something that was generational. Like, and now how do I grow from that? Instead of just being like, oh, I don't need my family, or it's not that important to me, because I'm tired of trying. So it developed a level of character and patience in me to really stay in the fight. So I know from your point of view, you were saying how, you were talking about your mindset shifting and what you've seen yourself becoming in order to have those healthy relationships. And I was also able to see the root causes of what causes conflict between family members at times, because
Mhm.
sometimes the lack of communication.
Yeah, I want to say something else to that because I think a lot of times I believe in generational curses, right? I believe in, generational healing. So I
Yeah.
believe in both. But I think the most important thing is the self acceptance of like where you are. Like I believe in, the three A's of awareness, accountability, and action.
Absolutely.
Because we can always, shine a light on what has been happening, what we've seen. Because you're absolutely right. We're shaped to operate in a certain way. However, a big part of my work is not just saying, this is what I saw and this is what happened and this has been the norm, but saying, what did I adopt? What belief did I adopt that's causing me to operate in the way that I'm showing up in this relationship?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That. I was going
I
to get
wasn't
to.
disagreeing.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't disagreeing. And I think even still, just to be candid with you all, we've reconciled, but there's still a lot of healing that has
Yeah.
to take place in our relationship. A lot of trust has to still be built in our relationship. A lot of understanding still has to be built because when you are used to operating and communicating with someone, you have to
Yeah.
understand how that person communicates, understand that person's heart. But I think also a space that, just to be candid, because we having this candid conversation, I still don't think, the space of vulnerability is still there, right? So in order for you to really grow with someone, there has to be a sense of vulnerability. And that vulnerability doesn't even come until the trust is really there. So there's still walls that have to be broken down.
Yeah.
And I like to show up authentically to you all because I want people to understand that we're here. We're standing together. We're saying we're in this. We're in this fight. We believe it's worth it, but also understand that it's going to be a process in unlearning a lot, and also a lot of honesty still has to happen, and conversations still need to be had, because I think that accountability piece is so important, raising our awareness to how we're showing up, what we're doing to affect the situation, holding ourselves accountable to showing up differently, and then taking those different actions. And I think the only way that we can do that is through pure raw, like unfiltered honesty.
Mhm.
And I think that holds a lot of relationships back, is just that vulnerability to say, like, I was angry with you, I'm
Yeah.
mad at you, I thought this of you, I thought that of you, and and unless you come to that place where you can really say the ugly things, not just to that person, but also to yourself, you got to be real with yourself. And
Yeah.
if you're not being real with yourself, it's still going to be hard to move forward in relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that everything that you're saying is 100% the truth. One of the things that I realized is that, I mean, we are definitely, still building every single day. And that's the beautiful aspect about it. At least we're trying, you know what I'm saying? And we're like, I'm definitely always open to being vulnerable. And that's why I even come to you more now than I used to and ask, hey, is everything okay? You know what I'm saying? So we can always be able to have that space to talk. And I realize that, when you're building a relationship and building trust with somebody, it also takes patience, you know what I'm saying, to get to know a person. So the thing is too, like, we're siblings and we're not that many years apart, but I came to the realization that, we really didn't know each other. Like we grew up in the same household, but because we didn't, it was some things that we didn't learn. Once I was able to identify that, we didn't really have like constructive, well, healthy conflict resolution, and we were able to both see like where our issues stem from. I was like, I was in a place where I was like, even though I don't know you as my sister, you know what I'm saying, I'm willing to get to know who you are. And I'm learning that even with relationships, like sometimes um we assume that when we have family, it's just like a built-in thing, you know what I'm saying? Because in some instances, there are people that are naturally, close knit, but then there are situations where you really have to work on those relationships. And once I was able to see, like, we don't know each other, but we can get to know each other, then those are the things that we're working through. You know what I'm saying? So I know that that's something that I'm doing every single day to like, one thing about it is I'm not superficial about anything that I do. I just realize that there is hope on the other side because of where this came from. So I see the progression. I see what God is doing in the midst of our relationship. And I see not only is He bringing a healing and restoration for our family, you know what I'm saying, but He's also doing it for the generations behind us because everything that we experience and go through is not about us. You know what I'm saying? It's something that we go through so that somebody else can know that they can overcome too, just like I stated in the beginning. But there are steps to, healing and having a healthy relationship. Having, I'm not a coach, but I know that, what I'm saying, you have to first be aware, and then, you after you are aware, you have to have those tough conversations in order to heal. You know what I'm saying? The Lord also reveals things to you so that you could be strategic in prayer, and then you have to work after that so that way you can continue to build. So I'm seeing that, we're continuously developing our relationship, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the growth because I
Yeah.
understand that, this wasn't always what it was. And, people, everybody, I used to be upset with outside people not understanding, like, why they didn't have a say so in what was going on. But I realized that it wasn't meant for them to. It was meant for, me to do the work on myself, realized that it was some areas that I needed to work on, which was pride, being fearful of the outcome, you know what I'm saying, and just not being vulnerable. But as of lately, I have definitely been that because I realized the importance of just, coming with all that I am. Like, if it's something that's bothering me, I'm talking about it. If it's something that, and I forgot the statement that the girl used, but she was like, assume first. And what she say?
Oh, she said, assume the best, essentially.
Yeah, assume the best initially. So like, instead of like maybe somebody, because we're building relationship and getting to know each other in every aspect, on even the way that we respond to certain things, I'm assuming the best, like, and asking, are you okay? Or what I'm saying, just to always bring clarity and understanding in everything that I'm
Yeah,
doing.
one of the four agreements is don't take it personal. So,
Right.
a lot of times, in our self-centered nature, we think
Yeah.
everything is a personal attack on us.
Yeah.
When there's this objective perspective, approach that you can take to things, where you can actually have this empathy and say, like, yeah, everything ain't about me. You know what I'm saying? They're going through their own things, and that was also a big part of my healing as well. Is just like, and the reconciliation is, it was two big parts. Number
Yeah.
one, it was that everything ain't about me. Other people are hurting too, and even though they may hurt you in the crossfire, it's, you were basically collateral damage. It doesn't make it fair, but it makes it the reality of things, right? And you
Yeah.
either accept it and move on, or you hold on to it and you allow it to make you sick, right? And then another thing for me was just, a lot of times people are married to their anger. A lot of times people are married to, they identify themselves so much with that pain that they experience, that they don't even know how to let go, because they can't imagine who they would be without it.
Yes.
And that's how I was for a long time. And even in some ways, I'm still that way, in some of my relationships in life. It's like, who am
Yeah.
I without this story?
Yeah.
Right. And at some point, another thing that was really pivotal for me last year in, my relationship with you and with mom was, in just saying, like, at what point are you going to, like, let it go? Like, yes, like, I was going through my healing processes, being gentle with myself, but then I came to a point, like, at what point are you going to stop identifying with this?
That's
Because
good.
now it's on you. Like,
Yeah.
what's done is done. What are you going to do with what's been done?
Yeah.
And that was my choice. I had a choice to make. And I no longer wanted to be in that place of victim, right? And
Mm.
times we want to identify ourselves as the victim,
Yeah.
because it keeps us in this space of innocence, right? So we don't
Hmm.
love the story, because we think, if I let go of the story, then I'm accepting what happened, or I'm, I'm like, all the reasons
Yeah.
to basically keep yourself sick,
Ooh.
in reality. And at some point, you got to say, I want to be set free. I want to be out of this bondage. And
Yeah.
in order to get out of this bondage, I have to understand that I don't have to hold on to that experience. It was just that, an experience, and I get to choose what I do with my pain. Either I allow it to paralyze me and I continue to tell this story and stay in this place, or I can actually use it for a testimony. And, that brings us here, right?
Yeah.
And allow it to be a part of someone else's healing and a part of my own healing, and set me free. And I chose the latter. And that's why I'm able to be here today.
You know, I think that's so powerful on so many levels. Um, and a part of my healing process was, okay, you prayed about it. Now, when she comes back around, don't be prideful, or saying, oh, now she finally want to come around, or what I'm saying, it's taking all this time. It's like letting that guard down, what I'm saying, allowing God to really being walking in for true forgiveness for real, like letting it go, and
Hmm.
not holding up the walls of, you know now finally. It's like, no, again, getting outside of myself, letting go of that pride, and being able to
Yeah.
open up.
Ego is the enemy of our greatness.
Yeah, truly,
Yeah.
because here's the thing, I keep praying about it, and then, what I'm saying, when the opportunity comes for us to be reconciled, now I'm like, what I'm saying, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it didn't do anything but stop, what I'm saying, our growth and our healing process. So, I really let that go. Like, I'm not about to remain in this place, or holding back, what I'm saying, like I just show up because I'm like, I had the mindset like, this is my sister. I'm gonna just be here, but not really being there. What I'm saying, not really being present in the moment. So, what I'm saying, just fully giving my heart and allowing God to just heal. And,
Yeah.
it's been a lot of times where I had to pray through a lot of things, what I'm saying, ask God to give me the strength, give me the wisdom on how to, you know, how to reach you. I even told you that, like, I don't know how to reach you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had several different conversations, And then, the Lord began giving me wisdom on how, what I'm saying? I just kept exercising those opportunities when you know what I'm saying, open space for me to be in your space and I open space for you to be in mine. We both took those opportunities to get to know one another.
Hmm.
So I'm just grateful, that we both let down our
Yeah.
pride and what I'm saying, allow God to really do the work. Because I even told you too, I was like, sis, I believe that it's a reason why we're supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying? The enemy is really trying to cause division in our relationship. Do you remember when I sent you that
Hmm.
text? And I'm like, because I understand that it's an assignment. Like literally, it went. I even had visions about. I remember when I was younger, and I prayed for a sister. I prayed for you continuously every single day. I went in the closet praying for my sister. Okay, I believed I was gonna get a sister, and I ended up getting not one but two. You know what I'm saying? God was so gracious.
Right.
Need to say, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times when we have issues with our family members, there's purpose in that. You know what I'm saying? We don't know the purpose of their life. We don't know the purpose. That's why we have to bless our enemies. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
We love those that hate us. Do good to those that disrightfully use us. These are the
Yeah.
reasons why we have to do that, because obviously it's something that God wants to do in that relationship. And the
Yeah.
enemy to bring discord because he knows that in the end, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be powerful together. I knew that and I was fighting for that. And the thing is, it always brings me back to my fighting personality. Yeah, I was stubborn and, what I'm saying, wanted to fight, but I had to learn how to fight in prayer. The Lord began to show me strategic things, and I believe that was for a reason. I believe our relationship was mended for a reason, and the enemy was trying to bring division for a reason.
Hmm. Yeah. And I
Like,
want to add this. I want to add this too. I got to
okay,
get off the call, but I want to add this because you said something powerful. You said like obviously like letting go of that ego, but like the word last year for me was like surrender, right? Like surrender gets you to that freedom. I think a big part of it, which I see all the time, like this system thrives off of this system that we are born into thrives off of us being sick. And what I mean by that is not just the food that we eat, because that's a big portion of it, but the content that we consume,
yeah,
right? So if I'm listening to narratives in my music and on TV and on social media that perpetuate this movement of division, right? If somebody does you wrong, this is how you respond. So
yeah,
now we're being shaped by a bunch of lost people. And that's why the Bible and anchoring yourself in truth is so important,
yeah,
because when you are misguided, you are going to die. You are going to perish. Your soul is going to die, and your body's going to soon follow, right? And that's because you're surrendered to a lost and broken cause. And when you find yourself surrendering to truth, which is God's love and his forgiveness,
yeah,
and how he shows up, it's like as messed up as I am, and God keep forgiving me, and I think I'm gonna hold a grudge against somebody as imperfect as I am. Like, girl, get off your high horse and go extend your hand to these people that you're supposed to love on, because your stuff don't stink. Like you acting like your stuff don't stink, and it does.
yeah,
So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why you really got to know who your God is. Because the thing about it is, everybody got a God. And they think it's God because they go and they pray to Him for 30 minutes. But the God is what's ruling your mind. What thoughts are your decision making authority? And if your decision making authority is the thoughts that drive you to darkness, then darkness is your God. This world is your God. That content is your God. That music is your God. But when you really make the true and living God, the one that you surrender to, you will find that there is so much love, so much joy, so much peace, and you're able to forgive people 20 times over. Obviously, situations and dynamics may change, but because you ain't Jesus, you ain't that perfect, right? But
um,
you're able to forgive people 20 times over because you adopt the heart of God, because you know his character, and your desire is to align with his will for your life. And his will is for you to be
right,
like him in many ways. Be Christ like. That is a Christ. Forgiveness is a Christ-like thing. Letting down your ego and your pride and, your anger, that's a Christ-like thing. So it was really in addition to me making those decisions, I just want to say this before I go, because I do have a call to get on. The biggest part of my healing was my relationship with God and cultivating that relationship with God. And I can't say I know God and I love God and I'm showing up in the world this way and I'm angry with people. So the more you know God, the more you know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you're able to make better, healthier decisions for yourself. So my number one piece of advice for anybody who's listening to this is to draw nearer to God, draw nearer to God and his love. And when you experience his love and know the fullness of it and immerse yourself in it, you're like, I want everybody to experience this. And I want to really embody this in the way that I live my life. And whatever I can do, whatever I have to lay down, whatever pride, ego, thoughts that I was, in relationship with, I love God so much. And he wants me to show up in the world this way. And my desire is to please him.
Yeah.
And I know that pleasing him actually frees me and
Yeah.
allows me to experience my abundance. So when you love somebody, you like, I just want to do whatever I can to please them. And I notice like the more I cultivate my relationship with God, the more I'm like, I just want to do whatever I can to please him. And
Yeah.
and honestly, it's not even a struggle. It becomes less and less of a struggle, even with my food, right? Like God's really been working with me with food and just like cultivating this high vibrational living. With Black Women Transform, that's a big part of my ministry is like we high vibrational living. Everything that you put into your body must breathe life. The music that you listen to, the conversations that you have, what you eat, and a big part of, again, which brings it full circle to my first point, why I was able to show up and forgive and heal and all of that is because I became the person
Yes.
who automatically made decisions of healing, made decisions of forgiveness by cultivating the space within myself. So I want to say that lastly, and then I got to get on this call. I do have to get to this training.
Okay.
But yeah, we can wrap it up however you want to wrap it up. I ain't gonna just abruptly leave.
Actually,
Maybe we
you
do a
can.
part two.
Yeah, we gonna have part two, sis.
Right.
All right.
But no, I'm proud of you. I love this.
Thank you so much. I, you just, I'm just thankful for your life, girl. I love you so much.
Love you too. Love you too.
Okay, listen. Let people know where you can be reached, and then we'll do part two of this so we can.
Lanasia Angelina, all platforms. You can check out the Black Women Transform podcast. See yourself, be yourself, free yourself. You can get the balance book. You can check out Rise Coaching Agency. But Lanasia Angelina, all platforms. You can find me. And I'm here to support you in whatever capacity you need. Training, coaching, speaking. I'm here. Prayer, whatever it is. Here to be a resource. Here to be just used by God in whatever way he sees fit.
All right, sis. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Love
Peace.
you
Peace,
too.
y'all. Have a good night.
I just want to say, I am just in awe. Okay, God is so good. So yes, that was my sister, Lanasia Angelina, and this series was about sibling reconciliation, the sibling edition of Generational Healing, Part 3. If you want to join us on continuing this conversation, feel free to join us every single Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, go to tntwithvalerie@gmail.com. Follow us on all social media platforms, TNT News Live. You can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and more. So I'm excited about this conversation. And if this blessed you in any way, please share. Let someone know that we are here live every single Tuesday, and we are continuing the conversation of Sibling Edition. So I hope y'all have a good night. Thank you for joining me. I love y'all, and God bless you.